What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. For those of you who don't know, my name is Chris Moore, and we got a special treat for you guys. Yeah, today we got a little something different. We got two friends came up from Orlando, Florida, and we've got a stretched out Yamaha MT-09 and a stretched out GSX-S 1000. We're going to be dyno tuning these things today, doing an ECU flash, but not just any ECU flash. We are going to be doing them on E85, both bikes. Both bikes have gasoline in them now, and we're going to be doing just a baseline pull on gasoline to see what these things make, and then we're going to be tuning them on E85. The MT-09 here has an Akrapovic, gotcha, however you want to say it, full system. Remember, guys, this is a 3-cylinder. For those of you who do not know, an MT-09 only has 3 cylinders. So this bike is super unique and super cool to ride. Lots of torque. It's just totally different ride. If you've never ridden one of these before you just, like, I guess you would say, make a guess about it, you really have to ride one of these things. These things are super cool bikes. They have a huge following. I never understood the following until I rode one. And then I was like, damn, this thing is super, super cool. Lots of fun. It does have the Yamaha OEM quick shifter accessory on it, and we're going to be dialing that in, tweaking that a little bit. But overall, super cool bike. Now the GSX-S 1000, also known as a GSX-S, is a super popular bike. You've seen these on our channel quite a few times before. This is a 2020 model, and it has a Black Widow header with a Kaufman slip-on, which basically means it has a complete full exhaust system from the front to the back. This is a 4-cylinder bike. It is 1,000 cc's. So I can pretty well tell you this bike is gonna make more horsepower than that bike, but it's gonna be interesting to see the differences in the torque of the two bikes with the 3-cylinder versus the 4-cylinder. Let's get started, guys. Here we go. So 113 horsepower out of the MT-09. The customer did state that he recently just purchased this bike, and it supposedly did have a flashed and tuned ECU. So as we can see here, it looks like he was correct, and the air-fuel ratio actually looks really good on it, and we've got some pretty accurate, good baseline numbers of a 113 horsepower and 61 foot-pounds of torque. Now we're gonna simply just switch it to the E85 race. Listen, I say E85 race gas. It's not race gas, guys. It's out of the pump. You just buy this stuff, $2 a gallon, depending on where you live. Dump it in your bike, get it tuned, and boom, it's just like race gas. We're gonna see what this stuff changes it. We're gonna drain all the pump gas out now and start putting E85 in it and see what we get. Have you guys ever smelled E85 in a car or motorcycle before? It smells crazy funky. Another thing too, E85 is ethanol based / alcohol. Ethanol, alcohol, kind of sort of about the same thing. Anyways, long story short, it steam cleans the inside of the engine. If you see an engine that has been taken apart that had E85 in it, the engine almost looks as if it's never been ran before. It literally cleans all the carbon off the top of the pistons, makes the engine look brand new inside. ECU Flash in progress. So these E85 tunes take a whole lot more time and are a whole lot more work to dial in. Just so you know, E85 burns almost double what normal gasoline does. So whenever we tune these things, we have to really start from scratch and add way more fuel, way more everything to make these things work right. So this is, I guess you would say, a preliminary flash just to kind of get us started. We'll see what this gives us, and then we'll make changes from there. Our first goal is just to get the bike running and driving properly. Then we'll start going wide open and making pulls. E85 is in, bike is running, and you can see our air-fuel ratio. We're just kind of watching it. We drain the tank bone dry. As soon as we start to touch the gas, the bike goes super, super lean. That means not getting enough fuel. So we just kind of did a little guess, because this is our first time ever doing E85 on the MT-09. Like I said, it's going to take some dialing in to get this thing right. We'll also take it a minute for this stuff to run and get 100% in the system. Sounded pretty good so far. From the E85. Keep in mind this was already a flashed and tuned ECU, not our flashed and tuned ECU, but someone, the previous owner, had already had this bike dyno tuned, and they did a good job. But look down here at the gains we got where the bike actually had they did have a little blip in the tune, and you can see the bike actually went super lean right here. The red is when we came in, the blue is now. And you can see the bike had a big dip in it right there. That had a lean spike, meaning not getting enough fuel. And you can see we got huge gains there. But everywhere throughout the power curve, 3, 4, 5 horsepower every single where from an already tuned ECU. So up top, we've got 4 horsepower here. Overall, 4 horsepower on a bike that makes 112 to start with, that's really, really good. Now keep in mind a bone stock MT-09 probably makes 105 to 108, somewhere around in there. So the customer already had good gains to start with from a stock one, but this E85 has really made this thing shine. And keep in mind too, only $2 a gallon. How do you go wrong with that? Now this customer also, and we've mentioned this in past videos, E85, the blends change from summer to winter and whatnot. So this customer has a DynoJet Power Commander 5 with the auto tune module. Now we have a perfect base tune in the ECU. The auto tune is just going to keep the tune the same all the time. So whenever the customer gets into winter time, and let's just say we go from, right now we're in summer, It's E85, that's what it says on the pump. It's probably E78, E79, something like that if you measure the true ethanol content. Well, in the wintertime, we may go to E65 or E60 or whatever. It's different parts of the country where you live. Well, that Power Commander with auto tune is gonna keep that tune dialed in exactly where we tell it to. So overall, 3-4 horsepower gain, 5 horsepower gain, 6 or 8 horsepower gain down low, huge gains. Now let's get this GSX-S 1000 on here and see what we can get out of it. The ECU on it is bone stock. We're gonna see what it does on pump gas, which is what it has now. Then we're gonna flash and tune that thing with the E85 and see what we can get on it. Yamaha fans, what do you think? Suzuki fans, let me know. What do you think? E85 fans, what do you think? Let me know. Do you want an E85 tune for your bike? Let's get it swapped out now. So we just did the baseline pulls on the GSX-S 1000. We ended up with 138 horsepower. Look at this big dip in the mid-range. We're gonna see if we can't tune that out. Now it does have pump gas in it as of now, or I guess you would say for those first pulls. We got the E85 right there. We're about to drain the fuel on this thing. Mike is doing the initial ECU Flash right now. As you can see, it is in progress. Flashing the ECU up, just putting our baseline flash in it to remove the restrictions. We're gonna run it on pump gas one more time and then drain the fuel, get the E85 in it, and start doing all the tuning necessary to get this thing dialed in. But 138, already a pretty big difference over the MT09. So we're getting close to having the tuning done on this GSX-S 1000. One thing I wanted to point out with this bike is that it is running a Shinko hookup rear tire. For those of you who have watched my channel on a regular basis, you know that a Shinko hookup is a drag race tire. It is also terrible for a dyno. And what that means is this is a really soft compound tire made for drag racing. And they do excellent on the track / on the street, for racing on the street. In other words, it's gonna wear out quick. But it is killing the horsepower, I guess you would say, reading. So even his before and after, we went from 138 to 145, which is really big gains. But the main thing is, even his before dyno run would have been much higher if the bike did not have the Shinko hookup on. Now, you see we've been tuning a lot in this dip right here, and I think a lot of that is due to the design of the exhaust. This Kaufman exhaust, I don't think has enough back pressure, and I think that's hurting the low end horsepower. I think if this bike had something like a Yoshimura, a Krapovich, M4, something like that, just to get a little more back pressure, it would perform better in this low range area. But you can see overall, we've got pretty big gains so far. We're letting the bike cool off a little bit, specifically letting the tire cool off. The tire is actually getting super hot, and that is limiting our horsepower on the dyno because it's so hot and so gummy. You can see as we just touch on it, you can see it moving the whole tire, which is killing our power. Anyways, we're getting it the best we can with what we got. What do you think overall of this bike versus the MT09? Which one would you rather have? tunes on these bikes. Both bikes did come out big gainers, but you can see now I have overlaid the MT-09 versus the GSX-S 1000. So you see we had 145/20, 116/23, 75 foot-pounds of torque, and 63 foot-pounds of torque. You can see here massive differences between the two on top end, but that's where that 4-cylinder bike kicks in over the 3-cylinder bike. You can see down here in the mid-range, not that much difference. It's 6,000, 6,500 RPMs. There's literally less than 5 horsepower difference. But on top end, that's where that 4-cylinder goes to screaming, and it really pays off having that extra, I guess you say, displacement to that engine. Those bikes are not really super competitors, but they are close to each other in size, and that's kind of the purpose of this video. A Yamaha MT-10, which does make pretty close to the same as this GSX-S 1000, would be a more fair comparison. But this video was just for fun and entertainment. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, click the subscribe button, click the bell for further notifications, smash that like button, and check us out, moremafia.com. There you can get more information on the ECU Flashes for your bike. Whether you want a t-shirt, anything like that to support the channel, we do appreciate everything, guys. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.